Hey guys, so this morning I'm going to make a video where I make coffee, and I know that this seems like a pretty straightforward operation, but surprisingly, not a lot of people know how to use like a regular coffee maker, and they don't know the right recipe, the right proportions for something like this. So I'm going to take a few minutes. I'm going to share what I know about this with you guys, and if you want to know any more, you can look online. Some good websites to look at for electronics in general, coffee makers, appliances, anything is a Wirecutter. They do really good stuff. There's also dripcoffee.com and a bunch of other stuff like that do reviews. All right. So first, the number one mistake people make at home is the recipe. A lot of people do one scoop or one like tablespoon per cup. I'm just gonna the one scoop or one tablespoon per cup really is not going to give you the cup of coffee that you're going to want. Starbucks recipe on their website, and if you look at a lot of like Real Deal coffee stuff, their recipe is 2 tablespoons per cup. So a tablespoon is one of these guys, says tablespoon on it, or regular tablespoon. And it's funny because on the recipe it says heaping. So what the hell does that mean? Well, it means that you scoop it and it's not, you don't level it off. You don't push the coffee off. It's kind of like heaping. So I'm going to make 4 cups of coffee today. Now, a few things to remember is in coffee world, I have my coffee maker here and the 4-cup line is here. Coffee cups are different than regular cups. So if you cook or if you know that a cup is 8 ounces, well, in coffee, for some reason, a cup is 6 ounces. So that's why sometimes also they run into the problem that this is not a 6-ounce coffee cup. This is a coffee mug. So American coffee mugs run anywhere between 8 and 10 or 12 ounces. So you'll fill this up to four cups, and you think you're going to get 4 of these out of it, and you don't. You probably could pour that whole thing, that whole 4 cups or so, 2 of those 4 cups into something like this. Something more like this is a coffee cup. This is a 5 or a 6 ounce cup, and you'll get 4 of these out of that number 4. You do whatever you want. I have both. This is for when people come over, and then when you're drinking coffee by yourself, you have one of these guys. So just anticipate that number 4 on your coffee maker, whether it's this coffee maker or Mr. Coffee, whatever it is, in the coffee world, a cup is always 6 ounces, not 8 ounces. So you're going to lose a little bit. All right. So first thing you do, all coffee makers basically the same. I use these paper filters. They do sell the reusable ones. You take one only and you put it into your basket. Now, I used to use a Mr. Coffee where it had one of these drawers that swiveled out and you put it in. It's the same exact thing. All right. Now, the recipe, really important because we're using. Now, mine came with this little scoop measure, but it's a tablespoon. It's the same thing. We're going to do, because we're doing 4, we're going to do how many cups? We're going to do 8 scoops. So 1, 2, 3. All right, I skipped ahead, but I put 8 scoops in so you didn't have to watch me counting. Goes under the drawer. Now, you could take this whole coffee maker over there and do that. So you can take the hose in your sink. I usually keep a little jar next to it. And that's basically it. Some things that you want to keep in mind. You don't want to ever fill your coffee maker with hot water. It'll break it. You want to fill it with cold water and let the coffee maker do its trick. This coffee maker is a Bonavita. Now, this is important. Things like a Keurig. I used to have a Mr. Coffee, which I liked for a lot of years. But then I realized that, wasn't really getting that flavor that you want, that Starbucks flavor or that, high-end flavor. And one of the reasons is the temperature. A lot of the cheaper or the the regular coffee makers you just buy in Target or whatever, they don't go to the right temperature. You want the coffee to be about 205 when it's brewing. And there's a few ways to do that. You could buy one of these, not a Bonavita, I'm saying like Bonavita, the Ninja's pretty good. There's a few of them. And check out Wirecutter or one of those dripcoffee.com, one of those sites, and they'll rate them. You really want a coffee maker that's capable of bringing the temperature up there. And when I found this out, I was skeptical myself. But me and my friend did a side-by-side test, and we had a thermometer. Anybody who cooks in the kitchen should have one of these instant read thermometers just for food safety. And we had one, and we tested the coffee coming off the Keurig, and we tested the coffee coming off Mr. Coffee, and for sure it wasn't 205. It was like 192, maybe 189, and you really, it's a little difference, but you're really missing that flavor. Another option a lot of people do is the French press. It's a cheap option. You can get them at Starbucks or whatever it is. You just kind of put the coffee grounds right in here. You fill it with water that's just off the boil. So you boil the water, you let it sit for 1-2 seconds, you throw it in here, mix it all together with the coffee, and then you literally press down on this plunger, and it filters it out. One of the things you want to remember is this is going to be really hot. So you never want to put a spoon in here to stir your grounds together. You want to use a piece of wood, a chopstick or something. If you don't like bitter coffee, you could take a pinch of salt and throw it in while the coffee is brewing, in the basket before you turn it on. Salt really cuts bitter flavors right out. So, if that's not your thing, the extra, the coffee scoops, it's not going to necessarily make the coffee more bitter. It's going to make it more flavorful. So you want to put the right amount of scoops. Another tip is if you're using one of these, something that I always do, turn your sink on and let it run till it gets hot, till like you see it steaming. And then you want to fill this up to the brim while your coffee is brewing and let the mug heat up. I filled it up and I'm just going to sit it down and I'm just going to let the mug heat up. Because these mugs are so thick that what will end up happening is you'll pour your hot coffee in and then all the heat will just dissipate into the mug. And then you'll be lukewarm coffee by the time you're ready for milk. And then you'll be most of the way to iced coffee. You might as well throw in the cubes. So what you want to do is heat up that. You should have let the water run longer than that. Heat up that hot water till it's steaming. Fill up a mug and put it aside to let the mug heat up. Then dump the water out and then you're ready to go. We used to do that in the restaurant just because people complained about cold coffee all the time because we had these really thick, coffee mugs. All right. So if you guys want to know anything else, get at me. I'm going to try to make a lot of silly, stupid videos for Fridays just to mix things up. But have a great weekend.